6 days a week I'd work sort of full days with Diony, and then I think it was 3 evenings and a Sunday within the same week I'd work at Tesco. And I'd use, and that was for like 2 years of setting up, and that income I'd make from Tesco would be my income, and then everything for Diony for like 2 years was just put back in on growth, and that's hard, you know, when all your pals are going out and having a mint time, and I'm on, you know, not a lot of money, working my ass off and not really seeing anyone. That was hard.
Welcome to the podcast, Alistair O'Sullivan. How you doing, Alistair?
I'm all right. I'm very well.
Good. Is it Ali or Alistair? What
Ali, Alistair, Al, yeah.
Okay.
Mostly Ali.
Cool. And we've got another special guest with us from Spectrum, Will Nevis. Will, describe your role for watchers, listeners.
Project manager, business analyst, firefighter, and everything in between.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Digital firefighter.
There you go.
There we go.
Have a job title change.
So, Al, so where are you from? What do you do?
I'm originally from in between York and Hull, a little village called North Newbold.
Yeah, not far from me.
Yeah, so yeah, local. Spent most of my time in Hull, and I'm the managing director of Diony. We're a performance marketing agency, and we help brands grow online through various different verticals.
Excellent. We'll come back to Diony in a second, but I thought it was Prime Day today, but then you corrected me while we were off air to say it's not Prime Day, it was yesterday and the day before. Yeah. But I just wanted your view. So would you buy anything this year on Amazon Prime Day?
Yes.
Come on, Will. What did you indulge in?
I indulged in some washing tabs.
Wow.
I went crazy. No, I didn't get anything for Prime Day specifically. I think I mentioned to you I missed it slightly. That's why we knew it wasn't today.
Right.
But no, I do know people who do get stuff. Like I say, my other half got a water bottle, I think, and some other bits. But no, I didn't get anything specifically.
What about you, Al?
I was going to say, I think we should have maximised it a little bit more, to be fair. We obviously buy bits and bobs all the time for the business, but yeah, I don't think we actually bought anything on Prime Day.
Yeah. I was doing a bit of research before. They were forecasting that sales would be $14 billion over the last 2 days on Amazon Prime, which is just over 10% increase on last year. Yeah, but I guess it got me thinking from a business perspective. Is it, and from a marketing and SEO and all that sort of stuff, is it a positive thing to drive so much traffic into your business in 1 day of the year, 2 day of the year? What do we think?
I don't know if they can cope with it. Yeah, if they've got the resource. I mean, obviously Amazon are an absolute behemoth of a brand, aren't they? And they're looking to do stuff like that to drive more, membership acquisition, and obviously, that they've already got that captive audience through Prime anyway. So just sort of maximising on what they've already got. But it's not a dissimilar thing. It's like your Black Fridays and stuff like that, isn't it? But yeah, I think it's a great idea. Obviously, customers clearly get value out of it and all that sort of stuff. Yeah.
I think it probably drives itself, doesn't it? Because it's not Amazon having to fulfill it, it's all the people who sell on Amazon.
Yeah, you're not wrong, yeah.
Because if people are going to Amazon for good deals, people think, I don't want my business to miss out on that. I need to put some good deals on. Because if you're the only one who's not putting the good deals on, you're going to stand out as a...
Yeah, but then most stuff gets fulfilled by Amazon nowadays, I think, go through their warehouse.
Yeah. But they've got the infrastructure, haven't they? It's all stored, it's just delivering it.
Yeah.
I guess.
I guess it makes me think about sales and discount and marketing in general, because you've got to think that a load of people have not bought anything, not bought stuff in the run-up to Prime Day, and then have squeezed stuff into that 2 days. So actually the net increase in sales, in reality, is not going to be 14 billion, do you think? Mm-hmm.
You mean because they were going to buy it anyway, they just waited?
Yeah, exactly. And then all you do is cram a load of stuff through your supply chain in 2 days that really would have been better off if you spread it out over a longer period of time.
Yeah, I understand. I think us as a business as well, like we probably should be more savvy around stuff like that and discounts and getting certain deals and bits and bobs like that. But I think we just, the beauty of our Amazon account is we just, when we need something, we go on it, we buy it, and it's really bloody easy. It takes a day to come, it's a couple of clicks to buy it, and that's that really. That's that whole brand altogether, isn't it?
It's the beauty of Amazon.
100%.
Do they hope someone buys something else when they were going to buy the thing they were going to buy anyway? That makes sense.
Yeah, possibly. I was looking at wetsuits for 7-year-olds the other day. It takes you down the
Was that just
a lost journey, a rabbit hole? Well, just because I'm going oldie to Cornwall in 6 weeks' time, and I thought it'd be good to get the boys, get them on a surfboard or not. But there you go. So
fancy a Shein delivery. We come in time for Cornwall.
Shein. I've still not indulged in Shein actually.
Or
Temu.
Temu. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I think
Temu. I've still not tried that yet.
Have you not?
No.
It's all right, but I think I don't know. I think it's driving the prices of Amazon down. Last few things I've checked.
What's the difference? Is it mainly price point? What's the difference? What's the vibe in comparison to Amazon?
I think it was cheaper. I think the main difference is the business model. My understanding, I might be wrong, but my understanding is Temu is kind of a marketplace for the factories. So you're almost taking Amazon out the loop, basically. It goes direct from Chinese factory over to you.
D2C, right? Oh, cool.
A bit like Alibaba, isn't it? The consumer.
Don't get me started on Temu. So,
loves it.
Talk to us about Diony then. So, what do you do? What's your sort of performance marketing?
We're primarily performance marketing. So SEO, PPC, paid social, CRO, conversion rate optimization. So we'll go onto a campaign or a website and help it convert better, or whatever it may be. We have a content arm of the business, so we do lots of stuff like this, creative, actually writing content, all that sort of stuff that obviously complements the other elements of the business. And then we have web and web development, so we do a lot in online retail, websites, and sort of aspects of dev as well. So just about a year ago brought all that in-house as well. So we've got a team of just under 20 now.
Wow.
Including your more sort of techie bits and bobs like dev and support and stuff like that. So but it all works together, and marketing does nowadays. So it's kind of a lot of the clients that we work with, majority of it, probably 95% of the accounts that we have, they're all sort of omni-channel, all works together. There's probably 3, 4, 5 different service elements that we have on any client account that we work with nowadays, unless it's a project like a website or an online store.
So when did you start the business? How long have you been going?
Been going for about 7 years now. Started around the City of Culture year. That was a great start for us. Obviously, there was quite a boost of confidence in and around the city with businesses and creatives and stuff like that. And we started up actually in the old town, in a little incubator space down there that's unfortunately not about anymore. And we kind of grew in that building. Started working with bigger clients, hiring more staff. Obviously lockdown came, so we built up to the top floor of that building, kind of outgrew that, and then we were then looking for our new space, which then COVID happened, which just kind of put a cap on everything for a little bit, but we had pretty good growth over COVID. We had lots of clients that did well, some clients that didn't do so well naturally. So we had clients we had like race course clients, for example, where we didn't work with them for 2 years, and then we had other clients that were selling IT equipment online that just went like that, or law firms that were doing very well off things like wills and probate or divorce law, stuff like that. So it was a really interesting time for us.
A lot of divorce during COVID, was there? Is that?
COVID and post-COVID, because people were sick of sort of being stuck in their own room. Yeah, it was a really interesting time. And likewise, it was so insightful working with some of the businesses that we were working with and some of the businesses that were approaching us as well. Adult products, that went crazy overnight. All sorts of different industries and sort of markets, all in different positions, which I find really interesting, and still to this day, a lot of those couple of years have affected a lot of the stuff that we do and the buying habits and behaviours that we have now. But we had COVID, and then after that went into our new space. We're based down the old Hull Daily Mail building, Blundell's Corner. So we've got sort of big kitted out space now, and then joined forces with a lady called Lisa. She joined us ops director and headed up a further team members and quite sort of helped us consolidate the agency and stuff like that.
It's quite rapid growth to go from nothing 7 years ago to 20 people in.
Yeah, it's been an interesting couple of years. Yeah. We've actually past 2 years we've had a really, really good sort of growth. So we spent sort of after COVID, a year or two after, we spent a good sort of year consolidating the agency and building for big, putting processes in place. And Lisa was a massive sort of part of that. We're very, very different brains. I'm kind of like all over. She's very, very operational, very military around process and efficiency and all that sort of stuff. So it was a really, really good sort of conjoinment of our best bits really as her old agency and mine.
Okay, so what was Lisa's agency? Was that doing exactly the same thing, or did you bring?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. So she joined on with all the best bits of her agency and vice versa. And kind of joined forces and went from there.
She local?
Yeah.
Nice.
So that was a good move. Did a little sort of acquisition / merger over lockdown as well, which was really, really good for us. And then naturally, we should do loads more. We should do stuff like this, but we, naturally, Builder's House, we don't do enough of our own marketing. So a lot of our client acquisition is through, good work, creating more work and word of mouth and all that sort of stuff. We spent sort of a good year or so consolidating, building for growth, and the past sort of year or two has really, really shown. We're on track to double turnover from last year, and we had a really good year last year. So yeah, it's a super exciting time for us actually.
And how have you done that then? So how have you doubled turnover in 12 months? Is that literally organically word of mouth, or is there some stuff that you?
So building for larger accounts, working and pinning down on areas of the agency or services that the agency has that aren't efficient and that we really shouldn't be doing.
Right.
We spent time on element. It's the first time ever we have sales. We have a full-time salesperson now, which is really interesting. Just literally spending all day, every day doing biz dev, finding new opportunities for us. So that's been a really interesting move for us. We've never had that. I guess just working on larger clients that are right for us and that are in the types of industries or situations where they're quite agency reliant. Albeit, we work with full in-house marketing teams and, it really, really varies. But yeah, we've worked with brands like Sports Direct, Ford Motor Group, right to sort of startup businesses, lots of local businesses as well. We want to sort of be one of the top in the space locally. And then we're literally just at the minute on the cusp of getting our Leeds office. So that's going to be a big step for us. And that hopefully will widen us up a little bit more geographically, more so probably from a credibility perspective and also talent as well. So I think unfortunately the talent pool that way is very different to what it is over here at the minute. So that'll be an interesting kind of growth thing for us that we're
new venture. What's your recruitment approach? Do you tend to sort of recruit recruit young people and train them up, or
absolutely 100%. So we have a really, really mixed dynamic in the business in terms of ages and all sorts of stuff. Our recruitment kind of process is, it can be anything from sort of grads, apprentices. We do a lot of that sort of stuff. Young Sam, who's in the business, he was one of our first apprentices. He's still there now. He won Apprentice of the Year a year ago. He is absolutely fantastic. Cannot fault him whatsoever. Really, really clever kid, and hopefully he'll be in the business for a long time. Right to sort of people that are a lot older and have different skill sets and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, I think we try. Going back to COVID, I think the whole attitude and culture around recruitment is completely different now. I think the economy and society and our culture now obviously kind of states that. So we do a hell of a lot around recruitment and culture and retention. We've got really good retention, to be fair, around that sort of stuff, more so than pretty much anything else in the business at the minute, because everything that we do is based around talent. So it's a really, really important area for us. And to be fair, I mean, even us, and we, like I say, I think we go above and beyond for, you know, in terms of benefits and salaries. We take them on holiday every year, all these sorts of things that we do, all these schemes, mental health schemes, the tech that they get, the office space that they're in, when they're in, work from home, you know, benefits, all that sort of stuff. This year was the first time we ever had to sort of use a recruitment agency and sort of outsourced assistance, which was really interesting. Yeah, it's that whole sort of, I think, area for businesses at the minute is quite challenging.
Where'd you take them on holiday? That's the key question.
We went to Ibiza last year.
No way.
Cool.
Taking notes.
Jesus. Just jumping in to talk about one of the processes that we often get asked to automate, which is the processing of supplier invoices, also known as accounts payable automation. So what does that mean? Well, most businesses receive invoices from their suppliers, and a lot of businesses still have people that are manually reviewing those invoices, making sure that they're correct, making sure they're accurate, and then manually rekeying them into a finance system or an ERP system. Well, our solution can automate that process. So typically an invoice will come in, we'll use capture technology to understand what's on that invoice. We'll then match that data up against goods received note to make sure that we've received the product. We'll match it up against purchase order data to make sure that somebody has placed an order for that product. And ultimately, if we can match that up, we can automatically push that into an ERP system or finance system, and nobody has to touch it. How good does that sound? If there are exceptions, if there are things that need to be checked, that's fine. We can use digital workflow to push that to somebody to eyeball it and say, is this correct, or does something need to change? Ultimately, though, that can then be pushed again into an ERP system or a finance system. This is about making your life easier. It's about making operations as quick and as efficient as possible. And we do that all the time. If that sounds interesting, then get in touch. That's enough from me. Back to the podcast.
To be fair, it wasn't like, oh, let's take the team. We were at an agency conference, and over there, Agency Hackers, check them out, really cool. It's like an organisation of lots of UK agencies and tech companies that all get together on different events and stuff like that. And they had this big boy conference over there, and we thought, oh, we'll go and try it out. So myself and Lisa went to that. That had some really amazing speakers and activities and all sorts of different really insightful things across, like, I think it was 3 days.
Right.
And then we took the team out for another 3-4 days after. So the team then joined us after that for another sort of, I think, 4 days or something like that.
Full team.
Yeah, it was really cool. Yeah.
20 people?
Not 20 last year. Yeah.
How many was it last year?
There will have been about 11, 12 of us.
How many have we got downstairs?
Some didn't come as well.
About 17 if you include sales.
Yeah.
Are you taking them this year?
Some couldn't attend. We're literally in the process of choosing when we're going to go this year, but we're going to make that a yearly thing, because it's something. It's a little give back to everyone. Works super hard, and it's a nice give back for everyone. And yeah, but yeah, recruitment is very interesting at the minute.
I think any sort of, because we're an agency, I guess, aren't we? We're a slightly different agency to you guys, but it's always a challenge, kind of balancing the people and sales and making sure that you've got the right number of people on the bus, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Any tips? How do you manage that? Because the last thing you want to do is over recruit, and then sales not what you want to be.
You're absolutely right as well. And it's like, it's always a risk, isn't it? Because you might, I mean, again, like 99% of the retained. So naturally, we're a marketing agency. Probably 70% of our business is retained revenue. Okay. So we work on a monthly basis with the brands that we work with, and kind of act as their marketing team. Yeah, essentially through, like I say, various different verticals.
When you say verticals, what does that mean?
Various different sort of areas. Okay. So SEO, PPC, or whatever it may be, and then the other 30% is project work. So it might be a big online store build or whatever. So naturally, the way how we recruit is it's quite, so none of that's contracted, by the way. So it's you might hire someone and then think, oh, we're going to, but as long as we hit a certain margin every month on the retained revenue, it works. But I think that naturally gives us that kind of sustainability as a business to be able to make decisions like that, calculated decisions, and know when not to hire. And we always stick to a certain margin every single month on retained as well, before we make any expenditure. And then project work is that sort of additional. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, everyone says that. Yeah, that cream on the top, whatever you want to call it.
That's why it's not contracted. What? It's just an agreement. It's just a rolling agreement.
Yeah, pretty much.
So much risk there? Does that?
There is an element of risk, but we work on the past year. We actually did it a couple of months ago. I think it was 92, 93% retention rate we've still got now. I think it's mainly down to performance. If you outperform, competition or that brand's previous agency, and your communication is good and the relationship is good, and obviously that commercial performance is good, then they'll stay. And they'll stay for a very long time. And we have a lot of clients like that are kind of comfortable and pleased with what we do, and we're always striving to do better every month that we're working with them, or quarter we go and see them, or whatever it may be. And I think it is down to sort of that relationship and the commercial performance. And we kind of sell on the fact that you're not tied into a 12-month. It's a great selling point as well, albeit it's that you've got that little bit more risk factor, but it's a good selling point to be able to say we are confident, we know we can do what it says on the tin. We're not going to tie you in for 12 months, trust us, put your faith in us, and we'll give you a proof of concept that works within the first sort of few months or whatever it may be, and we'll build on it. That's kind of how it works. And it 6-7 years, it does all right.
Totally worked. Yeah, it's very well for you. Yeah.
So I'm old enough that marketing back in my day was kind of direct marketing and catalogues even. And sending out brochures.
Are you that old?
I am that old. I don't look it, but
no, it's still massive now, isn't it? I mean,
well, that's what I was going to ask you. I've kind of stepped away from the marketing world many years ago, but so in the 7 years that you've been working your agency, how's the world of marketing evolved and changed?
It's a really, really interesting one, and I think it goes the fundamentals of marketing for me will always stay the same, but
what are the fundamentals?
Fundamentals of marketing. Oh God, that's
really
a right question. There's there's a million one different answer to that, but
because what changes the
driving
platform, isn't it?
Driving someone's need to buy a product, to make a decision, and that's it for me. Which for a business it might be someone buying a product. For a charity it might be someone donating some money. For for whatever reason it may be. Marketing is used for everything. But I would probably say that's a good simple answer with
like it.
that to go on.
Pen and paper.
So how's it changed over time? So back to what you mentioned. So the way of doing it constantly changes all the time. Even like the team that we have, I don't know, let's say SEO, for example. So we've got a performance marketing team, big element of the performance marketing team, SEO. So we've got various different SEO people on that team. Google changes every bloody day, all the time. And you constantly, that's why, a lot of people think, it's quite, marketing's quite, SEO's simple or marketing, sort of generalized marketing is this thing that's kind of easy to do, or it changes all the time. You've got aspects like AI, you've got societal changes, you've got human behavior that changes, you've got technology, you've got AR, things like AR that's taking over things like the e-com nowadays. You've got all sorts of different stuff that constantly sort of evolves over time, and you've got things like, again, going back to the C word, COVID, you've got elements in time that mold that as well. So COVID is a massive one that really, really changed people's behavior. Obviously, there was technology and stuff like that came out during that time, but behavior changed massively over that time, and societal changes that happened over that time have molded how and why people buy, and how people psychologically think about buying things moving forward, which obviously impacts what we do and impacts the technologies that we use and all that sort of stuff. And you'll know that from your day-to-day going out and buying stuff or going online and buying stuff.
So how do you as an agency keep in touch with those changes, those kind of societal changes? And Google, as you say, is changing its algorithm every day. How do you keep on the button on that?
Massive element obviously is research and keeping your finger on the button in the markets that we're working with. We really, really like to get up close and personal with every single brand that we work with. We don't hire account managers, so that means the service team really get into the nooks of every single business that we work with. And I know it sounds kind of wanky, but you know, we act as their partner, and we like to class ourselves as very internal with the brands that we work with, and that in turn allows us to really, really get to know the market. And there's some really niche brands that we work with. You've got to know that, you know, the customers' behaviours and sort of buying habits within certain markets, and how and why people buy in different demographics and ages and geographical locations. All that sort of stuff comes into it. Do
you do much data analysis?
Yeah, we do a lot of that. We do a lot of that on especially e-com and things like that, where we're working on really interesting one that we do is conversion rate optimization. So going into a campaign or an online store, analysing things right down to colours of buttons and stuff like that, and tweaking tiny little aspects on a website.
Psychological stuff.
And seeing what negative or positive changes happen off the back of that. But that's kind of the buzz I get from it. I love customer psychology and why people buy and why people change over time, or factors like COVID that mold, you know, elements of or behaviours of how people buy and things like that. So I find that super interesting. But yeah.
So what was you doing pre-Diony?
I was at college with Will.
long time. Probably not that long ago, actually.
What was I doing? It's a really weird story.
You set up events.
I did. So I had at South Hunsley. I really enjoyed my time there. So I went to Market Wing School, and then I went to South Hunsley. I actually went to York College after that for like a week, and didn't like the bus journey there. It was too long for me. Couldn't be asked. So I met a couple of people at a house party, and they said, "Oh, you should come to Hunt." They were from Hunsley. It was George Neal.
Really?
Oh yeah. Come to. I thought, bloody hell, yeah, go on, man, I'll give it a go. Was there for 2 years, and during my time there, I did media and economics, business, product design. I'm really interested. I love creating things, and I like solving problems and stuff like that. So. And I wanted to get into get into marketing. And I did some freelancey projects there. I set up an events business while I was there. That was fun. Used to hire a venue. It'd be like Hull Ionians and stuff like that. And then went into clubs. It'll have been Sugar Mill back then, Attic now. Stuff like that. I hire a venue, get DJs or various different, you know, performers or whatever down, and bouncers and whatnot, and then sell tickets for it in all the different sort of. I'd have pals at, you know, it might be Pop Private or Wyke or wherever it may be, that would sell tickets on my behalf, and then I'd sell to all of Hunsley as well, and we'd just have big
entrepreneurial thing.
It's just big. That was fun. Did that for like 2 years. So built a tiny bit of like, I guess, funds up and whatever to buy a decent laptop and stuff like that. Never got any handouts or anything like that from my parents. And then left college and was considering going to university, right on the cusp of doing so, and then. I actually set Diony up with a pal from college, Nathan Dennis. I don't know if you remember. Really nice kid. So we found 161, which was the incubator sort of hub, and set the business up. We had a couple of little, shitty laptops that we bought and had this tiny little office that we were in, and we would do. I was kind of like going out and finding work, and then we were both facilitating it, and kind of went from there. Nathan left the business a couple of months in, and we wanted different things out of it, but still good friends with him now.
What did you start off doing? What service or product was it?
It was mostly, so that was kind of down to Nathan, really. We kind of started off as a creative agency, so we're doing a lot more work around design and websites and creative stuff like that. And I guess the City of Culture year played on that a bit as well. And then Nathan left, so then I, 100%, and then went from there and swayed it more towards marketing and performance marketing, retained revenue, still kept websites, and sort of started hiring staff and then went from there. Yeah.
How do you get going? Like from going from college to hiring a couple of desks somewhere in Hull to then having an agency with 20 staff. How do you get off the ground? How do you win your first client and get the ball rolling?
Just being resourceful. I'd say like that is one of the best. I watch all sorts of podcasts and whatever, and I think being resourceful, and then I know again it sounds kind of cheesy, but like every failure being like just a lesson to get better and evolve around what you did wrong there and how you can, and that is kind of how Diony's been built, really. And anyone would say the same there, I'd also say particularly this day and age, it's, I don't know, you might disagree, but I think it's one of the easiest. There's never been an easier time than now to set up a business. I know economically and all that sort of stuff, when the UK is not in a mega place at the minute, but to actually physically set up a business, a marketing agency, for example, like how I set it up, it was kind of like, we had a skill, we had a couple investment being a couple of laptops, and I think we were paying next to nothing for this incubator space. It was a really cool model. You kind of paid as you grew, and then being resourceful on contacts, people who and people who can help you, and a lot of all of the work was through at the start was through favors and family and friends being like, I'll give you a chance. And it was, I think our first website was my ex-girlfriend's dad's business that we did the construction site for, and then met someone through his contacts that we did another site for, and then my friend said, can you do that? And it just kind of snowballs from there. And it's really it's mad to think now that we're doing it. We're like, we have PLCs on the books now, and it's we're working with we're up against seriously big, even European agencies where it's a really, really interesting time and stuff like that. So I think I think it's relatively easier now than it ever has been, and the stuff, the resources and things that you can use and find online and offline now is amazing.
I think you're right in terms of it's probably now is the easiest time ever to set up a business, but that in itself comes with problems because there's so much competition out there and barriers to entry. Absolutely,
I think that is absolutely hit the nail on the head. I think now is a time where ideas and being different really is more important than ever, because every market, or lots of markets that you're in now, is just so noisy, and everyone's setting up these businesses or whatever it may be, and it's just so noisy. So having that niche, the best thing you can do is finding a real niche or a real sort of USP that's going to stand you apart, or like you say, a super niche market, and maximising on that rather than going mass market and being
all things to all men.
Yeah, pretty much.
I agree. I absolutely agree. You've got to be the best in a market, and if you try and be too broad, then
100%. And it kind of sounds contradictory because I'd say marketing agencies is a fucking noisy market.
Yeah.
But we have various different selling points and USPs within the agency that I really do genuinely think help us stand apart when we're pitching to, again, we've pitched with some massive agencies before, won it off the back of just having these differences and being able to say, yeah, we can do that. And having that confidence and previous work that we've done in the past where it's worked.
Does any part of you worry that if you grow, you'll lose some of that kind of...
I think that's possible for a lot of businesses, and naturally things happen within a lot of businesses as they grow. I think for us, it's important. It's super. We instill it within the team massively, the USPs and processes and structure that we have within that from day dot. Yeah. So I think in our circumstance, because it is so vital and so, again, going back to the market being so noisy, it's like it has to be instilled within us as we grow, and it has to be even more important as we grow and get bigger. To be fair, because that agility of being small is such a selling point for a lot of businesses. But and again, there's various advantages and disadvantages of being big as well. So I think it's possible for a lot of businesses, but I think our business it's one of the number one things that we try
ingrained kind of thing.
That we try and hammer in people's heads within the agency, and again sort of demonstrate within the work that we do.
Yeah. So have you ever had any times where you think, oh, fuck this, we'll throw the towel in, just too much hard work, or has it always been kind of plain sailing?
No, it never is plain sailing, is it?
Hi guys, just jumping in, I want to talk about one of the services we offer, which is robotic process automation, also known as RPA. That is software that replicates human behavior. So if you've got people downloading spreadsheets, attaching them to emails, going on portals, downloading information, moving data around, all that stuff is perfect for a robot. So if that's interesting, get in touch, let's have a chat, let's see if we can help. Enough from me, back to the conversation.
I think we're in a really, really good position now, and have been for a while. But there's always stuff that goes on. There's never. I think having a business, it's like that all the time. There's never not an issue or a problem that needs solving, and that's just part of growth. It's part of evolving and getting bigger, and different things happening, and working with different brands and hiring people as well. People, that's a massive sort of responsibility and thing to get right as well. It's hard to get right, but yeah, I've had some terrible, awful, awful times in that business where I've gone home and I've been like, what am I doing? Or why aren't I out with my mate? Like I set the business up at like 19, 20, when all my mates were going to uni and going out and all that sort of stuff. And it was hard for me at the time. And I'd just be 6 days a week. I'd work sort of full days with Diony, and then I think it was 3 evenings and a Sunday within the same week. I'd work at Tesco, and that was for like 2 years of setting up, and that income I'd make from Tesco would be my income, and then everything for Diony for like 2 years was just put back in on growth, and that's hard. When all your pals are going out and having a mint time, and I'm on, not a lot of money, working my ass off and not really seeing anyone, that was hard. And again, you have random things that happen over time. Going back to like really, really, I'll be the first person to say I have dramatically cocked up stuff before and being like, oh shit, doing things like that. But then again, like being in like a state of bloody, what do we do? But building on it, that's good. That's good progress. If it was plain sailing all the time, you wouldn't. I don't think anyone would.
You wouldn't learn anything, would you?
No, you don't grow. You don't progress, and you don't evolve, and you don't grow if it's always just like that all the time. And I think the beauty of going like that over time, when you actually, if you got a little bit closer to, let's call it, there's a graph like that. If you got a little bit closer to it, and it was a business, it is actually like that. But on the scale of things, we're going up, we're doing better, service is getting better, net margins getting better, retained revenue is increased, all that sort of stuff. We're in a really good position now where we've got an amazing team. We're really, really proud of the people that we have and the processes that were in place, and we're properly building for big now, and that's exciting. But long story short, I think but that's the buzz I get out of it. You do sort of, you can wake up it's that randomness of, you wake up one morning and something will happen and it'll be a oh shit situation, but you get
it's nice to know it's not just us that has those. It's
100%.
nice.
Well, do you know what? I know I keep going on about it, but for me, it's back to being resourceful and having that mindset of that resourcefulness and thinking, right, well, how can we innovate a way to get ourselves out of this really bad situation that we're in? And we've had a couple of times like that where shit has hit the fan. I'd be like, I'm talking like years ago, how am I going to pay the wages next month? And it's but like you say, you
drive you
100%. Yeah. You get those issues fixed and you work out ways and you don't get in situations like that again. That's the important thing. I think it's always good to speak to entrepreneurs because I think sometimes the world of the internet, you can get a perception that you can make $1 million in 6 weeks, and the reality is you don't always see the fact that you work in Tesco's for 2 years, living on baked beans to kind of get through that difficult first
behind
period.
the scenes, isn't it? It's behind closed doors.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I think it's a really interesting one because everyone sees all of the people have that perception of success and materialistic things and stuff like that over time, and it's like I say, we are. It's only been the past year or two where we've actually properly sort of been making the margin that we want and stuff like that. We still reinvest a lot into growth, and I'm still interested in doing so for a long time. But people look at it from the outside and they do not. And it's only human, isn't it? You don't really realise the work that goes into certain things or the sacrifices that you have to make with whether it's relationships or time or pals or money and all that sort of stuff within a business that people don't realise and wouldn't realise unless they were running their own business. I find anyway. And like you say, you'll see it from this business. There's all sorts of different stuff that goes on internally that sometimes it can be a shit show. And you think, right, we need to, we've got a real issue here. How do we fix it?
Yeah.
Definitely have that, don't we?
We do, but then
it's part of being in the business.
From it, yeah. And if you're surrounded by good people, you put your minds together and you come up with solutions and you learn, like you say, you learn from it and make sure it doesn't happen again. That's what it's about. Yeah. So what does the future hold for Diony then? Where do you think you'll be in 5 years? Do a similar sort of proposition? Do you see that changing?
It's a really interesting one. It's a super interesting one. We're in the process of doing a 5-year plan at the minute and kind of working out what we want to. I think it's safe to say we want to sort of keep stride. We want to be one of the top in the north, and just keep doing. I think for now, just keep doing what we're doing. We've got a team. Well, I think there's like 2 or 3 more hires we need to make, and then we're in that that's kind of like, right, let's ramp things up again and go on a sort of go on a proper sort of growth. Not that we're not in one at the minute, but like strive for bigger. So I think simple answer to that is probably just keep doing what we're doing, keep growing how we're going, but sensibly, and we'd like to end up doing more. Well, I mean, we're doing a lot more now in Europe and the US. So like just stuff like that. Well, I want to do more of that stuff.
How'd you do it? How'd you do more of it? Because we're the same. We've done done a couple of projects in the US and one in Asia. And we want to do more of that. But
the US market for us is like well, a lot of US brands use UK agencies to do their stuff because it's not untapped, but for the size of that economy, a lot of your brands over there and the digital infrastructure that they have is surprisingly nowhere near as, in my opinion, nowhere near as good as UK, if you were to generalize it.
Yeah.
And likewise with agencies over there as well. So I think that's a massive opportunity for us that we're doing more and more of. But I'd like to capitalize on that more. We'd like this Leeds office is a big project for us.
California office?
Yeah, maybe.
Never say never.
Yeah, I think just keep doing what we're doing, and I think we're having a proper think about that over the next, myself and Lisa, over the next sort of few weeks, on where we go and what we do over the next sort of 5 years. But that is not to say that we're kind of like we don't have a clue at the minute, because we do. It's more so just how are we going to, what do we need to do? How are we going to get there, and what do we need to do to get there? If that kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
What about different products or platforms or technologies?
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong. And there's probably like, similarity, very much so similarities or cross sells in both businesses that we kind of run. I think there's potential for other products. But that's a big answer to that. It's a big question within that kind of plan that we've got, really, is because a lot of agencies do end up getting to that size where, like you say, if they're not careful, they are, they're, what was your term earlier? Sorry, jack of all trades to everyone. And it dilutes the quality of service that you're doing. And I know we're really, really, really good at what we do at the minute. So it's you've got to be careful around that as well. But that's not to say that there are opportunities in different markets and service areas. And that's not to say that we're not thinking about that as well. So you're absolutely right.
I think you always need to be, don't you? 15 years ago, we sold document management, and then
you're not wrong.
Time moves on, your document management world gets commoditized and the margin reduces in it, and then you have to think, what's the next big thing?
And like you say, everything changes as well. We are toying with the idea of, and it would probably be a separate company, to be honest, a separate brand completely, but training for us is massive. We do a lot of training for Diony, whether that's a marketing team of 20, 30 people or a marketing exec that's doing PPC or whatever, and it's a one-on-one. We do a lot of that, and we do a lot of, it sounds kind of contradictory, but actually benefits Diony in a lot of ways. But we do a lot of going into an outfit and helping them build their in-house capability and in-house infrastructure, what softwares they need, what kit they need, what type of staff and talent do they need to be looking for. We do a lot of that. And we do a lot of consultative stuff in and around sort of people building, brands building in-house teams, and how do we train them up and make them more efficient over time. That is, like, I think, quite a big opportunity for us at the minute, because that hunger, particularly larger brands, the hunger for more control. Obviously, we've got better technology now. Talent is miles better. There's a real hunger for brands to up their in-house capabilities at the minute, and that is, I think, probably a growth opportunity for what we're doing. How we go about that and what we do, we're working it out. But
nice, good answer.
All right, so the podcast is called Tomorrow's Workplace today, so we always ask the question, if you cast your mind forward 10 years, what does the future of marketing look like in 10 years time? I think it's different from today.
That's a good question.
Should have prepped you on this, shouldn't we?
Yeah. Bloody hell, well. That's a really interesting question, because it does, like I said earlier, it really does change so much constantly. I think how will the marketing change? How will the marketing world change in the next 10 years' time?
Yeah.
People are going to get lazier. People are going to get lazier and less less patient with and how they buy.
You mean consumers, or do you mean marketeers?
Consumers, consumers.
Yeah, okay.
Of which is happening at the minute, and I think that will continue to happen, of which then, transverses into how technology changes and all that sort of stuff. I wouldn't say there's like one answer to that. There's like a million and one different things, but I think definitely there'll be a lot more technologies like AI, and
does that mean marketers are going to get lazier, do you think, or do you think they'll just utilize it in different ways?
That is going to be the whole. I know everyone's talking about it at the minute, but that whole question is like the golden question, isn't it? I think there's areas of marketing. It's like Google. I think Google will end up getting to a point where they're penalising people for using AI for things like SEO. That will happen. But then there's other areas of AI. If it's used properly, it's incredible. So that's going to change the landscape. Obviously, customer behaviour, like you mentioned, and more the psychological stuff. Again, I think that will change considerably. Will be down to generational changes, again, societal changes. I wouldn't like to say where it'll be. I think it'll be quite interesting and scary where things end up in the next sort of 10 years. In an exciting way.
Do you think
I kind of answered that. I kind of did.
No, you did. You did. It's an impossible question.
Yeah.
That's a good bit. You can make up what you say, what you like. No one will know. But do you think Google will punish people because they're investing in AI themselves? It's almost a little bit.
You're not wrong. I think, again, it's a double-ended sword, really, because Google, again, the absolute behemoth. They've got like 97-98% of the market share of the search market, and they use AI loads.
Yeah.
But people using AI and not abusing it, but not using it properly for things like trying to, whether it's like building websites, or all Google want to do is provide consumers the very best experience as they can. Which means, and they rank a site on over like 300 different factors. For example, if that site was built, for example, I'm not dissing these softwares, but you've got like AI website builders, or it's the whole thing's written by AI. You can tell at the minute, that then detriments things like how it ranks, and how Google pursues that as is it a good customer experience? Isn't it a good experience?
Yeah, okay.
And that's kind of like the golden question at the minute. And how Google jumps on that and where it goes with it, I don't know. But I think there'll be more and more and more policies and regulations in place around how AI works, and not letting it get out of not out of hand, but
having a detrimental impact on
but I think you get all that stuff. Marketing agencies are going to disappear, and I think that's absolutely rubbish. You will always need, going back to the fundamentals of marketing, you'll always need that human element to it, and human and AI can be a perfect mix. We're actually spending a lot, not to go off on a tangent, but we're doing a big R&D piece on how we utilize AI, because we need to be doing that. It's not
internally or with your customers.
Internally, it's not going to go away. So how do we use it, but use it well to benefit our clients, and how we improve elements of the business to make us more efficient, communicative, better commercial performance for campaigns that we're working on, time, all that sort of stuff. Because agencies can abuse it as well, and charge however much for writing, I don't know, doing content retainer or whatever it may be. So there's loads of different answers to that again, but it's
really good. Alistair, thank you very much for coming on the podcast. It's brilliant to see somebody doing an amazing job and growing a really successful business in and around Hull. So thank you very much for coming on.